Hello, I'm Chloe Bitters. In news across West Tennessee today, a major drug bust has kept Jackson police busy. They found both a substantial amount of cocaine and meth in a local apartment. 3 people have been arrested in what has been an ongoing drug crackdown by the city's police department. We hear more from Campbell Paget.
This is the haul narcotics officers made at an apartment on Gilman Lane. It's a significant bust because of the volume of drugs. This was a joint effort of Metro Narcotics, the SWAT team, and the Jackson Police Gang Unit. Here's what agents recovered. 479 grams of crystal meth, also known as ice, 26 grams of heroin, marijuana, and hydrocodone pills. They also captured 9 weapons, 2 of which were stolen. Add to that more than $6,200 in cash and 2 cars used in drug deals. The street value of the narcotics is approximately $60,000. Formal charges are pending against the 3 people arrested. Campbell Paget, West Tennessee Today.
2 men are in jail and another is being sought in Weakley and Gibson County. They are charged in connection with an attempted shooting of a Bradford man. Deputies say 38-year-old Joshua Montgomery was shot by 2 men from Lexington. 49-year-old Ricky Lynn Gilbert was arrested by Henderson County deputies. 41-year-old Jeffrey Story is still at large. All 3 men are convicted felons. Montgomery is in the Gibson County Jail. Story and Gilbert will be charged with attempted murder. Attorneys for death row prisoner Edmund Zagorski tried to spare him from lethal injection. They succeeded, but not in the way they hoped. Instead of dying by injection, Zagorski is scheduled to be executed in the electric chair next Thursday. Zagorski made this request of a change himself. This case shows the challenge that states face in finding ways to execute prisoners that courts will deem humane. Zagorski has exhausted all of his appeals. Political visits continue as Election Day approaches. 8th District Congressman David Kustoff is bringing his bus tour to Jackson today. Kustoff is visiting Madison County's Republican headquarters. He was elected 2 years ago after Stephen Fincher chose not to seek re-election. Kustoff will face Democrat Erica Pearson in the November 6th election. More than 400,000 people have already cast ballots across the state in early voting.
I'm also hearing a lot about the borders. We need to make sure that we secure our borders, and we're working on doing that. We will build that wall.
Education and jobs are 2 key issues in this year's race for governor. In the first of a 2-part series, we look at what both candidates propose to attack these problems. First, Matana DeWitt profiles Democratic nominee Karl Dean.
In his visit to West Tennessee today, Dean discussed some of the issues facing West Tennesseans in particular and how he plans to address those issues should he be elected. Dean said the 2 main areas of concern are education and health care.
Most people in Tennessee correctly perceive that public education is the absolutely essential thing for our state's long-term success.
A major problem in rural West Tennessee is getting the proper funding for public education. Dean said the concern is justified since communities in the area are losing population. That decrease in population leads to fewer tax dollars that can be allocated to improving education.
And it kind of builds on itself because once you start making cuts because your tax rate's going down and you can't fund what you have, that makes it even worse.
One of the solutions Dean proposed for this issue is to allocate resources within the State Economic Development Department that will be used for workforce development. As jobs are brought to West Tennessee, the hope is that the quality of education will grow with the population. Healthcare is also a concern as it pertains to education. Schools in Tennessee lack mental health counselors, and Dean said it's a real concern that needs to be addressed, in addition to increasing school safety.
Unlike my opponent, I do not believe that we should be arming teachers. I think that is, when I talk to teachers, that is not what they think is the solution, and I don't think that would add to the safety of our community.
Dean also wants to be more thoughtful and proactive about the way we approach health care in Tennessee. His goal is to expand Medicaid, which has met resistance from the Republican majority legislature.
So this whole question of do you want Medicaid expansion, and somebody says, well, I don't want to pay for it. Well, you're already paying for it. You're paying for it everywhere but Tennessee.
In Part 2, Dean addresses crime in the state's economy. Matana DeWitt, West Tennessee Today.
On the other hand, Republican nominee Bill Lee is big on developing a better workforce. In fact, he says he has personal experience in developing a trade school. Mary Barnes looks at Lee's proposals.
Republican Bill Lee is leading by an average of 18 points over Democrat Karl Dean in an average of statewide polls. That's the estimate from Real Clear Politics. Dean is pushing hard to expand Medicaid in Tennessee, but Lee says that's not the answer. He is telling voters we don't need to take more money from Washington in order to overhaul the healthcare system.
Our healthcare system is broken. I think we addressing the rising cost of healthcare is absolutely imperative.
Lee is counted on heavily by national Republicans to hold on to the governor's chair in Tennessee. That's because polls show Democrats in the lead to win 8 governor's races from Republicans. Lee has made a heavy push for a stronger workforce development training. That's something Superintendent Eric Jones endorses in the local school system.
The problem is so bad in our industry that 10 years ago we started a skilled trade school and have educated 1,000 in the trades. I have a master plumber's license myself. I know that it's critical that we reinstate that portion, and when we do, then we will create a workforce that's skilled and access to much higher paying jobs all across the state.
With 2 weeks before the general election, Lee is showing an air of confidence. That's the same Bill Lee voters saw when he visited Jackson shortly after the August primary. Lee's supporters and most political analysts say he has to avoid a major mistake before the voting ends on the first Tuesday in November. Mary Barnes, West Tennessee Today.
And that's our look at news across West Tennessee. I'm Chloe Bitters. Wherever you go, we hope you have a great day in West Tennessee today.